Local metropolitan planning organizations and other public transportation authorities across the country are coming up with action plans to help improve safety on roadways, trails, and even public transportation. The Safe Streets for All program is funded by a federal government grant available to local communities to come up with solutions to reduce severe and fatal crashes.
So it's earmarked for road safety with a focus on fatal and serious injury crashes. We are looking, in this plan, we are looking at more than just fatal and serious to kind of, serious injuries to kind of get a broader sense of what trends are happening.
A safety subcommittee formed to take a closer look at these problems locally met with transportation leaders to talk more about how best to increase safety.
This last year we were about 3,600 crashes in St. George City alone. And so that's reportable and non-reportable accidents, so accidents that are less than $2,500 damage. But yeah, we're each year, I've been a police officer for 18 years, and each year it slowly increases stuff.
Nationwide, we're seeing people behave more dangerously on the roads. This study is really good because it looks at the local issues of what are the leading causes for the crashes that are happening in Washington County, and what are the things that we can do with our streets to make them safer.
We do rank a little bit lower on the number of, the total number of crashes per year, but I would say we're on par with them in the rate of crashes per our population size.
And because of that, auto insurance rates in Washington County are among some of the highest in the nation. Last fall, over 1,600 results were gathered from a digital survey conducted in the area. Their survey showed that most people were concerned about the behaviors commuters have.
For instance, in motor vehicle, the top response that we saw is behavior of drivers in motorized vehicles, aggressive, distracted. Same thing in walking, it's kind of what we see.
The number one in fatal concerns is individual crashes on roadways, most of which occurred at intersections. The largest groups involved were teenage drivers and the elderly.
27% of our crashes actually are the younger, inexperienced driver, the 16, 17-year-olds that a lot of times don't know the basic foundations of driving, when to stop, when you can turn on a right turn on a red light and stuff like that. And I think there's a disconnection between the schools and the parents who are supposed to both be teaching stuff, expecting, one party to kind of expect the other to go over it, and vice versa and stuff. I think we need to up the education portion of it stuff and help build those foundations for these drivers.
Other issues include conflicts with motorcycles, e-bikes, and other motorized vehicles.
We're trying to address different behavior and safety issues with bicycles, pedestrians, e-bikes, e-scooters. How do you classify the different types of vehicles when there's kind of the gray areas between e-bikes and electric motorcycles, golf carts and those sort of things.
Perhaps the most deadliest are severe crashes injuring or killing pedestrians, especially at night, which may or may not be solved with better engineering and crosswalks.
Methods for reducing speeds like lane narrowing and road diets. There's things like lighting, reducing crossing distances for pedestrians.
Whether they be engineering, policy, or just basic education about road safety, that's kind of what we're moving towards right now.
You're going and renewing your driver's license with a new picture, actually having to take a test and pass the basic information again, I think would be a positive thing that the state could potentially do. And
the roads are increasingly a shared space between vehicles, pedestrians, people in wheelchairs, getting on and off of buses. And we all need to do our part to look out for each other.
We do education in a couple ways, right? We'd pull you over to have a good discussion about it. We can issue a ticket to help change that behavior, incentivize yourself if you continue to be the person who violates the same things and stuff. But education is key.
The public can find out more about these injury reduction efforts and others at the annual Transportation Expo at the Dixie Center on February 13th. The Safe Streets for All action plan for Washington County wants to reduce all these injuries by 5%. Many of these areas qualify as disadvantaged locations.
At disadvantaged communities and serving them is a good thing from the federal perspective, so this is something we want to keep in mind as we look at solutioning and potential implementation grant writing as we go through it.
The Safe Streets for All is part of the bipartisan infrastructure law and is available to any and all metropolitan planning organizations across the country through grants. The funding for this project was $1 million, which must be matched by 20% for solutions.
What we did is we just went in for the action plan grant that we're currently working on right now. That'll then lead us into the program's next step of trying to apply for implementation money.
With the public's help and input, these organizations are hoping to come up with ideas and solutions to accomplish their 5% reduction goal.
So letting people know what are the dangerous habits that need to stop, and what are the good practices that we need to all be doing when we're using the road.
In Washington County, Melissa Anderson, Community Education News.